The Ryan Goodman and Tangway podcast is brought to you by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network.
All right, welcome into another edition of the Ryan Goodman and Tangway Along for the Ride podcast. Gary cannot make it today, so it's back to the way it was with Goodman and Ryan at this point. And we got some news, Bob. We finally got some news. And it is the Jaylen Brown Supermax contract, making him the richest man in NBA history as far as a contract goes.
For now.
These are always last long, but 5 years, $304 million for a guy that isn't the number one guy in his team. In my opinion, will never be the number one guy in his team. And, you know, as good as he was last year, Bob, he's still got a lot of flaws in his game. Mainly, he can't go left. Mainly, I don't think he makes people better, but he's gotten better. He's improved over the course of his career. But man, 5 years, $304 million, just a ridiculous number to me for a guy who's a top 25-ish player in the NBA. Like, I wrestle with this one. I wrestle with it because I don't know what the right thing was to do for Celtics management and Brad Stevens here.
Thank the CBA for the dilemma. Yeah. Because absent the CBA that says that if you make second team all league or whatever, you achieve a certain milestone, that you are then eligible for this so-called Supermax type of contract. And he just happens to be the current beneficiary of this.
Sure
and it's everything you say I agree with technically. I'm still happy he's still on the team.
Yep.
So if we can, when the game starts, I try not to look at the dollar sign. We've been roped into this unwillingly, frankly, and maybe we should have taken a stronger stand to say, no, we're not going to participate in this. We're not going to be responsible for this. As much as I love voting, I'm proud to vote. I've always been proud to vote, including Baseball Hall of Fame and at times the Basketball Hall of Fame. This isn't what we should be doing. We shouldn't have any say in how they get paid, and yet we do, frankly, directly. That's why he's getting
no sense.
That's why he's getting paid. Now, here's the thing: I don't want there to be a runaway negative. People harping only on the negative. Let's focus. Let's go Johnny Mercer, accentuate the positive for a second.
Okay.
The man averaged 27 points a game last year.
Yep.
The man does some can when he's got a lot of assets and he's come up big at times when the guy we think is better hasn't.
Sure.
Now, one of those times was not game 7 last year. We know that.
Terrible.
Okay. People are dwelling on that. This is the bad taste he left in everybody's mouth prior to this contract thing. So people are, so many people are tying it together too much. You got to back off, folks. He's that game was, I think it was an aberration for him to be that bad, frankly.
Again, Bob, listen, he's a very good number 2 guy on a team. That's what he is. He's a good number 2 guy, but I keep going back to the fact that you're giving the richest contract in NBA history to a guy who really can't dribble in the half court. He has trouble dribbling in the half court, especially he can't go left.
Right.
And then he doesn't make anybody better around him. That's not something like Jayson Tatum. I saw Dan Patrick posted something. He said they're basically the same player, Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And something to that effect. Maybe not those exact words, but something to that effect. And my take on that is no. Jayson Tatum consistently makes people better now. He gives people easy opportunities. Jaylen Brown never does that to me. He never did. He is not a guy. He's unbelievable in transition. He's unbelievable. One dribble, pull up. He's ridiculous. Mid-range, to be honest, mid-range, he's phenomenal. But he's an average three-point shooter who's actually regressed in that a little bit because I think early on in his career, he got a lot of uncontested three-pointers because his rap was coming in the league. He couldn't shoot it. So they were daring him to shoot it. He made him. Now they're guarding him a little bit out there. And he's kind of regressed back to like a low to mid 30s.
He's gone. At his peak, his peak year was approximately 38%.
Yeah.
Which we think is good.
Really good. That'd be great.
From 35 2 years ago to 33 in the 33s this year. Yeah. All right. So is that a horrendous? No, but it's still not what you want. Of course, is that 38, and I think your reasoning is sound about why it's happening. Now, so maybe the big question is, what has distinguished in the past the true superstars in general. But it's one of the things, not the only thing. One of the things that distinguish the Birds, the Magics, the Michaels, etc., is the continual improvement of their games and the willingness to improve. Okay, we all know what he ought to do, and it's very nice that he's very philanthropic, and he's got plans for this money that are very altruistic. I think at least what he's telling us, and that's. We applaud that. We like having these as a good citizen, and he
Absolutely.
is. That's fine, great. But get in the gym, kid. As well. This is
this bad for him in a way? Like it's good, sir. Bob. This is great for him personally in a way. Okay, great. I mean, obviously he's got all this money. Again, he can help out people, do whatever he wants. His kids, his kids, whatever. Is this at all a bad contract for him, because now the expectations and the pressure every time if he doesn't do something is going to be, man, this dude just signed the largest contract in NBA history. He should be a dominant player. He's not. I mean, he can be at times, but that's not what he is.
No, it isn't. And he's going to have this is going to be an issue for him. It's going to be he's targeted now. I mean, he's identified in a negative way for in a sense that he can't control this except other than with performance. He's going to have to, and it's going to be a pressure. No, you're right. This is an unusual circumstance, and once again, it is all brought about by this CBA, his eligibility. Because in a better world, and absent that provision, he would not be eligible. He would not be. He wouldn't be doing it, and we wouldn't be having this particular kind of problem. But so
the good thing, Bob, hey, the good thing is there's no player option for the 5th year. So at least the Celtics got that. The bad thing is there's a trade kicker, which means if you trade him, basically he gets a percentage of that. They'll have to pay him a percentage, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. He can't be traded for a year.
Right.
So my take on this always was, okay, you got to pay him. And then if things go poorly this year, you can trade him a year from now and he'll still have enough value, because while his contract is ridiculous, appearing to be ridiculous, they're only going to get bigger, these contracts. So it won't look quite as ridiculous in a year or two. That honestly, it probably will be a movable contract in like 2 years. So
he's the man of the moment, just like. Right. And in the NFL, guess who's the highest paid player right now? It's Justin Herbert. Right. And he's a very good player, but he's not Patrick Mahomes.
Who would you say is more, if you had to give one or the other, Justin Herbert, if you had to hit your wagon to Justin Herbert being the best player in or the richest contract in NFL, which are you okay with? Which are you more okay with?
I think he's a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, me too.
So I think
talent-wise, yes.
The CLNS Media Network is powered by FanDuel. Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston and get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed.
Which are you more okay with?
I think he's a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, me too.
So I think
talent-wise, yes.
I'll give him.
He's got, because he doesn't have the flaws that, like Jaylen Brown. My problem with this is I think it's really difficult to improve your passing and your ability to make people better. Can you improve your shooting? Sure, absolutely. Get in the gym. But I think you either have those instincts, and I've said, this since we started doing the pod, I've said Jayson Tatum has those instincts. He just wasn't showing them early in his career, but I've always felt like he can be a facilitator. He can make people better. I've never seen that out of Jaylen Brown. And the key is, listen, Bob, the key is, can Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum bring it up another step with how the synergy between those two? Because if they can't, I'm not sure they can win an NBA title.
No, that's a very good point. And as I was thinking, I'm thinking about Bird and McHale, and and that analogy, because McHale wasn't a passer, although it was better than people think, but it certainly wasn't his forte.
No, he was. Hey, when he got the ball in there, Bob.
Right? No, he wasn't. You didn't want him. Yeah, right. I mean, so we understand that. And when they were doing and transitions and all the touch passing and all, he could be a part of that. And I think Brown could be a part of that kind of 3-on-2 passing as well. But the half court creativity is not part of his game, and absolutely not. So anyway, he's here, and that's positive in general, right?
Better than not having him, that's for sure. Better than not having him, or better than having to trade him and get, not get dollar for dollar value. So listen,
right, so now your fantasy, your fantasy has got to be put to rest now. We're not getting Bradley Beal for him.
No, I think it's over. I think that is finally over.
So now we can put that to rest. You tried, I know, but
listen, here's what I'll say is they had to do something, the Celtics. And what they did was, instead of moving Jaylen Brown, they said, you know what? We're going to move Marcus Smart and we're going to get Porzingis, and we're going to see how that works.
Yep, that's right.
And maybe that will do it, because he gives you a completely different look. Now you've got your offense should be better. The biggest question mark going forward is, it's funny. So I was just down in North Carolina and watching Duke, and then I sat with Armando Bacot at North Carolina yesterday. And one of the things we talked about was that North Carolina team 2 years ago, when they made their run to the national title game out of nowhere, they showed a ton of passion and intensity, and they looked like they had fun. And then they reverted back last year to how they were most of that year 2 years ago, like playing with no emotion, no energy. They didn't look like they were having fun with each other, none of it. I feel like the Celtics somehow have to figure out a way. And Bacot was saying to me, hey, you know what? That's not typically who I am, but I think maybe I have to change who I am a little bit for the betterment of the team. I have to show some more emotion and fire some guys up, and maybe get up into some guys, or yell and scream and talk more trash, whatever it takes. I feel like the Celtics need to channel some of that as well somehow, Bob, because without Marcus Smart now and Grant Williams, those were your two vocal guys. However you want to say it, they're very different how they did it. Now you're almost got a flatline team in a lot of ways, with a lot of teams that are super mellow. That worries me.
Yeah, it's an issue. Yeah, I totally agree. But I must say, I wouldn't be mind if training camp started tomorrow, because I'm curious.
Yeah, of course.
I want to see. I'm holding Joe Mazzulla accountable for using Porzingis the right way.
Yep.
I don't want to see him standing out there all the time and exclusively shooting jump shots. And that I'm become aware, thank you, people, that last year in Washington, when we never watched that team play, who the hell watched the Wizards, that he did indeed spice up his game and balance up his game and get inside sometimes and act like a big man, act 7'3", instead of 7'3" going on 6'2", like you do when you're standing in the corner shooting jump shot. I'm curious, and I just, quite frankly, I'm sorry, I'm worried. I don't trust that Joe's going to do this the way he should until I see it. That's all. Because but I'm really curious to see how this team's going to work.
Me too.
Man, we are in the thick of summer, right? I mean, you can feel the heat. And you might be looking for some wholesome, convenient meals to support sunny and very active days. Factor number one's ready-to-eat meal kit can help you fuel up fast with flavorful and nutritious ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door to save time, eat well, and stay on track, reaching your goals. Okay, ready to eat your best while making the most out of your summer adventures? Now stick to the wellness goals with premium ready-to-eat meals featuring high-quality ingredients such as broccolini, leeks, and asparagus. Treat yourself to 34-plus weekly restaurant-quality options. I just love the names. The names make me hungry, but they're good for you. Bruschetta shrimp risotto, green goddess chicken, and grilled steakhouse filet mignon, ready in just 2 minutes. Too busy running around during the day to think about lunch? Keep up your energy with lunch to go. Effortless, wholesome meals like grain bowls and salad toppers that are ready to eat when you're on the go. No microwave required, folks. Need an extra boost to support your wellness goal this summer? Try Protein Plus meals and 30 grams of protein or more per serving. I said per serving. Head to factormeals.com/scribe50 and use code SCRIBE50 to get 50% off. That's code SCRIBE50 at factormeals.com/scribe50 to get 50% off.
All right. The other big story this past week involved LeBron James's son, his oldest son, Bronny James, who suffered a cardiac arrest during practice Monday. He's a freshman at USC. Season hasn't even started. There's a lot of hype around Bronny, and 18 years old. Again, was hospitalized. Now he's in stable condition, but he was in the ICU for a little while. Not a lot of information has come out since, Bob.
No.
But
not that we deserve,
Right.
this isn't any reason. This is a highly private matter with a public person. The young man is a public person. If his name was John Smith and his father was an accountant somewhere, this would be a similarly scary and tragic story, but it wouldn't be a news story.
Correct.
This is a highly well, what do you say? Except it's not 2 times in 2 years an SC kid. I'm not saying there's any connection.
No.
It's an eerie thing that 2 times in 2 years. Now, thank God the other kid whose name I can't remember, but he did come out and play.
Yeah, Big Vince, yeah.
He did play, which is great. And they say that the sign, what I'm reading, but the scraps that we get about the generality of this when it happens is signs are good that the initial recovery thing and all the steps are he's going to come through with this.
Yeah, he's going to come through with this. And now the next step is for all these kids, and there's been a bunch of them, go through a myriad of tests and then determine, all right, can he play again?
Yeah.
Does he need a defibrillator put in him to be able to play again? Because that's the hard part. All right, you've got, obviously, if you're LeBron and the family, you want to make sure that Bronny is healthy and you're not taking a major risk here, putting him back out there, number one. And if they're comfortable with that, then it's USC. Are they comfortable? Now, the good news is, again, they had another player go through this last year and he was cleared to play after, I believe, having a defibrillator put in. So, it may be where Bronny isn't playing that first game, November 6th.
Oh, I would certainly not looking. We just want him healthy, but
of course.
Yeah. And
like I said, I've told you this, man, watching that kid, how he handles himself with all that pressure and all the fanfare and everything, he's been unbelievable. People are going to have their expectations will be too high of Bronny if he plays. Hopefully he will. But again, I was just amazed. But again, I'm amazed, but I'm not, because I watched LeBron go through it as a high schooler and all the way through his career and how he's handled himself. And it's been near flawless.
No, I think, LeBron has his irrational haters and he's done some, silly things at times, but for the most part, you're absolutely someone who's had to live his life in this public a manner since he was 14 years old. LeBron has handled himself, I think, very well. And no question.
The best to Bronny.
Yeah, absolutely. And to the family. And the one good thing is we know this one. They got the resources to get the best possible medical attention the world can provide.
And it's good out there. It was funny because, he's going through where he's going to go to school and everything like that. And, it's like Ohio State. There were a couple other places, now you look at it and you say, this was probably the best spot for him in a lot of ways. Not only because, again, great hospitals, but you've got your family right there. That's the good thing with Bronny right now is he's got his family with him. Yeah. Again, they'll have the best care, and hopefully he'll be back on the court at some point, when he's ready. And again, once he goes through all these tests and gets cleared. All right. Well, listen, thanks for joining us. A summer edition of the Ryan and Goodman podcast. We'll have Gary Tanguay back next week after hopefully he's gallivanting somewhere on vacation right now. And thanks for joining us as always.